Guys, this book is everything. There is not a dull moment in this book, period. Hi wonderful people and welcome back to my channel, Book Creeps. I'm Giselle. How are you going? What's up with the scene? Oh my goodness, October has ended and I'm here to let you know what I read in the month of October. Yes, I had a TBR. Did I stick with it though? No, that did not happen. My goal in October was to read interracial, paranormal, fantasy stories or books. That was it. Did I read that? Yes, I did, but I also read other books. So I read some contemporary romance, and you know me, I'm always down for a Mafia romance, so that is what I did too. In October, I read over 20 books. Don't ask me how I read it. Y'all see my eyes. In terms of the type of books that I read, most of these books are adult romance. That's what I do, that's what I like, that's what I enjoy. But I also enjoy a good young adult, new adult romance, so I have one or two up in there. I read books from various tropes. I can't just stick with one. So I have friends to lovers, enemies to lovers, I have forced proximity, I have fated or soulmates, I have rejected mates up in here as well. I have a workplace romance. I have a book where someone had amnesia. I read books with strong heroes and stronger heroines. I read diversely. So if you want to know what I read in this month, keep watching my video. If you are not following me on my social media platforms, yeah, go ahead, follow me across there on Instagram and TikTok as well as Facebook. And before we get into this video, like, and if you have not subscribed to my channel, hello, subscribe. So I read The Witch Who Will Be Queen by Courtney Dean. This is an interracial romance, a BWWM. It is also book 1 in the Royal Bloodline series, and I must say I enjoyed it. We met Imani and Alexander. Imani, she's human. She's a doctor. She doesn't know anything about the paranormal world. However, she is from a long line of witch descendants. And so when she meets Alexander, who is a vampire, she starts to experience certain things. Alexander knew Imani was his fated mate, was his soul mate. And once combined, that is it. She came into her witch's power. And let me just say, you have the fated mate trope in this. You have different world trope because you have Imani and Alexander. They're from completely different world. Imani only knows the human world. She hasn't experienced anything supernatural. If you want a quick paranormal read with a vampire and a human, definitely check out this one. Y'all, this series, I am enjoying this series so much. By Carmen Rosales. Hidden Secrets for me was another 5-star within this series. So in this book, we finally got Linda and Colton's story. In book 1, we meet Linda and her boyfriend was murdered. And so now in book 3, we see where she is still having a difficult time coping with that. She takes antidepressant, and Colton is a bully because this is your enemies to lovers. He never got over the fact that Linda chose her deceased boyfriend over him. And so he continues to torment and provoke and bully until things get revealed, because Linda isn't who she says she is. There's so much more to Linda, who she's working for, the deals that she makes. Now, mind you, this is a cartel romance, so you get that organized crime theme. However, it is a college romance, so it doesn't go as in depth. This story is hot. There is a scene in this book. I'm like, Giselle, take a shower. Giselle, just take a shower. Hidden Secrets, you need to read. Listen, the bantering, the groveling, the sweet talk, the angst, right? The begging for forgiveness. When the dead returns out of the blue, you're like, how? When? Yeah, but things really happen, and a lot happen in Hidden Secrets. Keyword, Hidden Secrets. I read 3 books by K. Alec Walker. One was a paranormal, one was Mafia, one was contemporary, and I enjoyed them all. The Prince of the Brotherhood. Lord have mercy, but Prince of the Brotherhood, this is where you get your twist. You have secret identity. You have unexpected pregnancy and unexpected baby or surprise baby. You have law enforcement as well as forbidden love. So these tropes in a mafia romance, you're thinking, how does it all work? But if I tell you, then you're going to be upset. I'm telling you right now, you're going to be upset. But this book, it is so good. The amount of twists in this particular book blew my mind. A lot of things I wasn't expecting, and I was like, how? Honestly, you're going to be flabbergasted by the twists and turns and unexpected reveals that unfolds in Prince of the Brotherhood. So in this story, we meet Ija, and she is an Interpol agent. She's also skilled in espionage, and she is undercover. And then we have Dominic. And Dominic, he is the son of the Bradford boss, or the Russian mafia boss. So he's next in line to take over. Come on. But the twist is, everything is not as it seems. Is Dominic really going to take over the mafia? And I will say no more. If it's one book that you need to read, one mafia book that you need to read before 2022 ends, it is going to be Prince of the Brotherhood. And then we have Fated. Now, at first I thought by the title, Fated would mean a paranormal romance. No, this is totally a contemporary romance. In this book, right, we have cheating. We have work colleagues. We have love potion, and then we also have a forced arranged marriage. In this book, we meet Alexandra. Alexandra, she's the good girl. She follows rules. She follows expectations laid out by her parents, and her dad wants her to marry Roderick. Alexandra is very unhappy with Roderick. Her grandmother, though, she believes that certain people are meant to be together. And so she gives Alexandra and Ethan, who's her work colleague, some type of drink, and it lowers all their inhibition. And so they start up a secret relationship. Ethan is intelligent, he is successful, but he also grew up poor. And so because of Alexandra's family, they would not want her to be with someone like that because they're all about the politics. The Gatekeeper. In this book, you get kidnapping, damsel in distress from different world trope. You get amnesia and fated mates. There's a lot going on in the Gatekeeper. So we meet Mateo. Mateo, he's the lord of the underworld, and he is tasked with keeping the gateway between the underworld and the human world closed. Within the story, you have a lot of mythology, and you have Tiya, where her mother was an archaeologist, and she's like, I want to finish my mother's research. And so she gets kidnapped and used to unleash havoc, used to unleash destruction in the human world. Within the story, you also have destined to be together. Yes, you have your fated mate, but I felt as though they weren't as fated mates. They were more suited along the line of destined to be together. I also read 4 books that was released from Lunchtime Chronicles in October. So you know they release a new book every Wednesday. And Giselle can't help it. I need to read those books just because they're quick reads. They're also spicy and they're also interracial romances. So we have Caribbean Jerk, we have Rum Punch, we have Cookie and Cream, as well as New York Sour. So Rum Punch and Caribbean Jerk is written by Dahlia Rose. In Rum Punch, this is your Insta love. We meet Sin and John, and basically Sin, she's from the island of Barbados, living her best life, running her own business. And then we have John, who just retired from the army in the US, and so he is retiring to the island of Barbados. He has a lot of emotional scars, and they meet and they hit it off. Again, this is your quick, spicy read. There's a lot of emotional healing taking place in Rum Punch. And then we have Caribbean Jerk. I really enjoy Caribbean Jerk. This also takes place on a Caribbean island, and this book, it's your blind to love, second chance at love. It is also between Ben and Liv. Ben, he's a successful businessman, and Liv, she works at a resort. She has just sent a letter to Ben. She's over their long-term relationship. Same day, who shows up? Ben. And he is there trying to win back her love and rekindle what they had. So this is a really nice story. Really enjoyed this one. And then we have New York Sour from Imani J. And this is your second chance at love, brother's best friend. We meet Jack and Hawa. Hawa, she met Jack, I think, in her late teens. She could have been like 17, 18. Because of her brother, they were forbidden from being together. They never acted on any emotions. And then 10 years later, she tried everything out there. She realizes that Jack is what she wants. And so, as a strong, successful businesswoman, she goes and gets what she wants, and she wants John, and she lays the law, and she states exactly what she wants. And I love that. I love that. I loved it. I loved Hawa in this book. And then we have Cookie and Cream, which is your one night stand. What happens in Vegas definitely did not stay in Vegas. Layla and Simon, they hooked up in Vegas. They have common friends. What happened in Vegas was supposed to stay in Vegas. However, Lila walks into his bar and he's like, listen, this is my second opportunity. Like, I didn't get over you. Months has passed. I'm still into you. And so he actively pursues her and they hit it off. Like, things was rocky. It was. Yes, this is a short story, but you did get a lot between Layla and Simon. Their relationship, I absolutely love and adore. This next book that I'm going to talk about, I recommended this book on my channel. I think it was on my TBR. I came back during the month to let you know about this book. It was so good. It was so exciting. It was action from beginning to end. There is not a dull moment in this book, period. So I'm talking about Smoke by Keta Kendric. Listen, the tropes in this book, so you have amnesia, you have emotional scars, there's a dark past, you have fish out of water, secret identity, unrequited love, and I'm all for an office romance. Who is not for office romance? Tell me. That makes everything juicy. So we meet Sori, aka Smoke, and she works for a top secret organization. Within this agency, she is tasked with bringing in or bringing down supernatural beings. Sori, she is deadly, she's lovable, and she is emotionally dysfunctional. She has severe childhood trauma, something very tragic happened in the past. And then we meet Michael. He knows things about Sori that she doesn't know, and he also works in the same organization. But most importantly, he is secretly in love with her. When I tell you this story is good, it's action-packed, you have great fight scenes. It is, however, a slow burn. But it works within the story. And Sori, she has supernatural capabilities. When I tell you, this girl, she's powerful. She's powerful, and Michael, his powers balances her powers. They are literally just meant to be. I cannot wait for more books to be released in this series. Guys, this book is everything. This book is exceptional. And I'm talking about Alpha by Tiya. I enjoyed this interracial romance. I was so engrossed in this story. So this is your sci-fi romance with your genetically modified super soldier. We meet Morgan, and Morgan, she is an unhappy wife. She is in an abusive relationship, and so she gets kidnapped and taken to a private military base where she's being forced to breed with one of these genetically enhanced super soldiers. And then we have Alpha, who is the strongest enhanced soldier that they have, and the one that they cannot control. And so they hope that with Morgan, they'll be able to control Alpha. Did that happen? It definitely did not. There are numerous tropes within this book. We have kidnapping. We have forced proximity. We have rejected as unworthy. We have betrayal. She's betrayed by someone so close to her. There's secrets and lies within this one book, and this is book one in a series, just letting you know. It takes on like a Beauty and the Beast type of retelling. This book is everything. It's everything. Read it. I also recommended this book in a recent video. Again, it is one that I could not wait until the end of October to talk about. So I read Chosen by Tiffany Patterson. This is not one of my favorites, but I'll tell you about the book. There's also some really great tropes in this one. There is rejected as unworthy. You also have forced proximity in this one. You also have fated mate, different worlds, and one of my favorite tropes, which is forbidden love, right? Love that trope. However, I felt as though this story, it was thrown out. It was long. So in Chosen, the heroine, she volunteers at a nursing home, and so she realizes that something is going wrong. She notices that seniors are disappearing, that they're being unaccounted for, and so she hires a PI to investigate these disappearances, these odd things that she is seeing in the nursing home. She herself gets caught up and she becomes a target because now she has stumbled on to certain things that she shouldn't. And there we have like your damsel in distress trope. He decides, you know what, he'll protect her, and in order to protect her, he takes her to pack lands. He's also the alpha of his pack. Although he's alpha of his pack, he slowly lets her know that he's a wolf shifter. And then you have a situation that arises where he has to choose between his mates or his pack. I will leave you to decide when you read this book. Honestly, this book, it has a lot of suspense. There's action in this book. It just didn't do anything for me. And believe me, I like reading books with an alpha. An alpha that is going to mate, that finds his mate. I absolutely live for stories like that, but this one just didn't do it. So I read 2 books by Kenya Wright. I read Fire Baptized. It is one where you have numerous supernatural murders taking place. We meet Lenora, and Lenora, she is a mixed breed, or what they would call a second-class citizen. One night, returning home from college, she walks into a murder in progress. She tries to do something, however, she has to flee for her life, and then she gets dragged into these murders, and she feels compelled to try to stop these murders from happening, only to realize that she's the center of these murders. It got to the point where bodies were being dropped or left in her apartment. This book had a lot of mystery, had a lot of suspense, but did not have the spice that I'm accustomed to. It didn't have it. It wasn't even a slow burn. There was little to almost no spice in this book, which was a surprise. I also read Seduced by the Moonlight. This one gave me the spice that I look for when I compare the two, and it's not because of the spice, but I did enjoy Seduced by the Moonlight more as opposed to Fire Baptized. In this one, we get the fated mate again. We also get the damsel in distress. Imani is a plus-size woman working as a waitress in a small town cafe. It's also family owned. There she encounters a biker group who also happens to be Wolf Shifter. Now the alpha for this group, he has a ban on mating with humans until he realizes that Imani is his mate and she is for all purposes human. So obviously he had to remove that ban. That is where things get interesting. There is a prophecy surrounding his mate where something will happen, and that is where the mystery in this book comes in. That is what I love. I'm like, what is going to happen with this prophecy? Now that he's removed the ban, that means we're going to see some more human mates. There's a lot of background placed in this story that makes you really understand the whole dynamic between wolf shifters, vampires, as well as witches. So I really enjoyed that in this book. Guys, I read Return to Darkness by Ariel Marie. And this book is dark in terms of the characters. So this book had demons in it. I'm not too much of a fan of demons as a paranormal character. So in this book, we meet Adori, and she is the daughter of the devil. And this is your bodyguard romance, by the way. Adori, she has been living in the earth realm or on the earth with humans for 10 years, had no powers, and upon the 10 years, she would come within her powers and needed to return to the underworld. And because she is the princess of the underworld, her bodyguard was sent to retrieve her. However, he had feelings for her, and when she realized this, she forces him to succumb to her demands. Basically, this is also your mating story. It was very short. The hero, he is a protector. He's also stubborn, and I think this is what made the story interesting. He's stubborn, he's strong, he's an alpha, he's a protector, but she's also strong as well. So you know what happens when you have two strong characters or two strong people. Somebody had to give in, and it definitely wasn't the daughter of darkness. Alpha's Claim by Amelia Hutchins. This is your fated mate, tortured hero, tortured heroine, seeking revenge, rejected mates. Listen, there's a lot going on in this book. Within this book, we meet the hero. The hero, he is publicly rejected by his mate and forced to leave the pack, only for him to be kidnapped, he and his friends to be kidnapped and tortured. So now he returns to his pack as an alpha, seeking revenge. And who does he target first? His fated mate. But he did not know what was happening. He didn't realize that she herself was tortured and abused by the same individual that did him so many injustice. This is not for the faint of heart. This is dark, y'all. This is dark. If you can't handle it, don't read it. So Blood Ties, it is a nice, steamy read. In this book, you get, yes, your fated mate, but you also get your forbidden opposite attract in this book. So we meet Nayola. She is a Chicago police dispatcher. She gets a call about her grandmother dying, and so she has to go back home to Louisiana. She gets there, and then she's thrust into a world of spells and magic, and she learns of her family heritage of being a witch and finding out that she's next in line. She also encounters someone named Gideon. Gideon, he's the alpha of a wolf pack. However, they have some history between her family and his family, and so although he know that it's forbidden to mate with her, it's the mating call. He's going to do what he have to do. He doesn't care what he has to do. This is his mate. And so she discovers that she has a wolf mate. So this book, This book that I'm going to tell you about, I recommended this book. This was one of the books that I could not hold my excitement about. I needed to talk about this book. First of all, let me just say that this book here by Tiya and Crawford ended on a cliffhanger that I wasn't expecting. And let me just say as well, it is a slow burn. You have none of this happening in this book. When I tell you there's such good story building in Frost, you need to pick up Frost and you need to read Frost, okay? So let me tell you a bit about this book. You have a fake relationship in this book. You have where one of the characters, she has sworn off relationships. You have where opposites attract. Torin and Ava, they are from different worlds. And you have emotional scars. And this emotional scars, it's from both characters, the hero and the heroine. She has emotional scars because she was placed into the human world not knowing her parents. All she knows, she ended up on the steps of a hospital and she was adopted. And then you have Torin, where he's actually cursed. He cannot fall in love with anyone, otherwise he would die. Yo, when I tell you this book is good. So Ava, on her birthday, she goes home early to surprise her boyfriend, catches him cheating. She goes out to a bar and she is just throwing words about the Sealy King, and the Sealy, he proposes a deal to her where she would get this huge lump sum of money. I am talking like $50 million. And so he proposes a deal where she would go to Fairy and she would enter this tournament where she would become his queen, because Fairy has been without a queen for such a long time and it's dying. And there needs to be a queen on the throne. Although he doesn't want a queen, he doesn't have a choice. And so you see her go through this tournament. You see where she starts to adapt to actually being fae and not trying to be human. And then it ends on a cliffhanger. Now, if I tell you this, she realizes her true identity. She realizes she's not an ordinary fae. She realizes what type of fae she is. Guys, you need to read this book. I am in love with this story. This month, I also read a book by Talia Hibbert, Mating the Huntress. And in this book, it is a shifter romance. You have a werewolf shifter as well as a human huntress. I didn't particularly like this book too much. I didn't enjoy it too much. But in this book, we do meet Chastity. And Chastity, she is a huntress. Her family has a long line of huntress. And so she wants to try to prove to them that she has what it takes to join the club, right? To actually become a huntress. She works at her family coffee shop where she encounters a werewolf. And so she decides to take him on for herself so that she can prove to her family she has what it takes to kill a werewolf. However, unbeknownst to her, when she's actually faced with the situation, she realizes that everything that she knows about werewolf isn't true. And in this book, we have one or two tropes. We have your soulmate trope. We also have a Beauty and the Beast fairy tale retelling. It is a short novella. It didn't do anything for me. This wasn't one of my favorite reads. It was an okay book, but it wasn't like top tier. I read Lethal Legacy, Unclaimed Mate. This book is one of my favorite reads of 2022. I kid you not, I enjoyed this book so much. It was excitement from beginning to end. There was no pause at all. So we have, yes, The Fated Mate, because this is a vampire romance, as well as Rejected Mate. We also have where they're from different worlds. So in this book, we have Luca and Luna. Luca, he is a special breed of vampires. He and his brothers, they have special powers that set them apart from other vampires. And because of that, people are after them. People want to take them out. They should not have that amount of power. And then we have Luna. Luna, she's from the Caribbean. So she went to the US. She's in college. She's working in a restaurant. And there she encounters Luca. Luca immediately rejects her. He doesn't want a mate. He wants nothing to do with a mate, but it would also put like a bullseye on her head. And Luna in return, she's like, oh, he's rude. She doesn't want anything to do with him. She was immediately turned off from their first interaction. Remember, that first impression really sticks. So she was turned off from him, and so she rejected him when he wanted to pursue her now. She's like, yo, no. On top of that, he has a tendency to have a harem of women, and Luna is not about her life. So I really enjoyed this book. The steam, the spice, the action, everything in this book was really good. This book by the same author really took me by surprise. I thought this was like a regular mating, like, you know, shifter or something. But no, this was literally a contemporary romance. A negotiated mating. This has secrets and lies, betrayal, cheating. It's a really good story. We meet Simone and Marcus in this book. Simone, she's married to her husband, Ahmad, and Marcus is married to his wife, Morgan. Their spouses have been cheating. Their spouses have been unfaithful. And so because of that, and also because their spouse are also dying, they decided they'll do this one single act for redemption and for forgiveness, which entails Simone and Marcus hooking up. They had this whole contract and everything that could have been negotiated, but they wanted them to be happy. And Simone and Marcus, their spouses, realized that they actually had an attraction. However, they never crossed the line. This book, it is a novella, but it was so good. And I totally wasn't expecting what I got. So this book, Jean Marco, this is book 1 in the Blood Brothers series. And I like this book. At first I was like kind of like iffy. I wouldn't say I was going to DNF, but I was like, where are you going? But the author created a really good suspense and created a plot where you have to go on to the next book. Like the way that it ends, yes, you get Gianmarco's story, but now you want the other brother's story, because the main plot where someone is out to get the brothers, it's all connected in each book, right? So this particular book, Gianmarco, this is where Gianmarco, he is a private investigator. He has his own firm and he's a 600-year-old vampire. He had his family, he lost his family, and so he has resigned himself to never growing attached to anyone. However, in comes Maggie, and Maggie, she's a recently divorced woman now trying to pick up the pieces, but she realizes that she has some type of pull towards Gianmarco. As a vampire, he realizes that Maggie is his mate. The question is, what is he going to do about it? He tries to fight it, and listen, it backfires on him. In this book, you get a nice MFM scene. Hot. So the tropes in this book, you get your office romance, you get your fated mate romance, and you also get your from different worlds, okay? Because Maggie, she knew nothing about being a vampire. She didn't know any supernatural thing even existed. I read Alpha Rise. This one was a bit different from my normal wolf shifter in that this is a MFN. And the reason why it's like that is because within this particular pack, they usually have a triad. So in the triad, you usually have your alpha, you have your second, which is another male in the pack, and then you also have the Luna, which is the female. And we meet Tobias, Nathan the second, and then we meet Roni. Roni, something was done to her to make her more supernatural. She underwent some experiments in the army, but she wanted to come out and, you know, live her life. Seeing how things work between two alphas in a triad and this human woman, I'm like, yo, how are they going to make this work? Because Nathan, he's unhappy with being a second in their relationship because he's an alpha. So seeing two alphas together, and within the triad, things are organized in such a way only the alpha can impregnate the female. But there was a twist. Y'all, this was one hot release in October that I wanted to read because I love this series by Rebecca Zanetti. Garrett did justice. So Garrett, he is the nephew of the king of the realm. He's also next in line to take the throne. He's also next in line to rule. He's the heir. And so he has been searching for his mate, only for him to discover his mate and realize she is not what he expected. Destiny, his mate, she has a brain tumor. She was given 4 weeks to live, and so she's trying to live her best life. She's trying to do everything that she could not do before, but you have this struggle where Garrett cannot trust her. He cannot mate her. Because why? She has amnesia. She is not fully human as they all thought, and she is programmed to kill him. This is why this book is so good. You have your mate, you found your mate, however, your mate will kill you. So that's it for me. Those are all the books I read. I hope I did not leave any out. If you have read any of these books, please holler at me. Comment, message me, let me know your thoughts on the book. I hope you enjoyed this video. I also hope you are enjoying the books that you are reading. Let me know what's on your TBR. Let me know how many books you read in the month of October, because we're on a roll. So thank you so much for watching this video. Give it a thumbs up and also share and follow me on my various social media platforms. See you when I post another one. Bye.